All right, CT, we're live. What's up?
Hey, finally.
Finally.
Across the table from Joe Rogan himself.
My pleasure, man. I watched your Netflix documentary today.
Did you?
It's great, man. It's intense.
Thank you very much.
It's
I
intense.
appreciate it.
You know, when I first saw it, I was like, what is this going to be about? But you get into it and you're like, whoa, there's a lot going on in this documentary.
That guy says more than fuck, huh?
It's not just that. It's like they went deep into your life and to everything, the struggles, the heart condition, the whole deal, man. It's heavy.
They did a pretty good job.
Yeah. So where are you standing now, like health-wise?
Oh, okay. I fought my way back, and just recently this June had another setback, had another major setback, had a heart attack out of the blue, and I thought I was a goner again, Joe, but I'm still here.
So you had a heart attack, they fixed your heart, they put in an artificial valve, and then what happened with the second?
Okay, that lasted for 12 years. I had 05, I had the open heart surgery. I actually passed away or flatlined 3 times during that surgery. And then this past June, out of the blue, I'm thinking, well, it's not really out of the blue. I kind of had a few signs, but I thought I didn't think it was that serious. And then I had another heart attack sitting on the couch at home. And I thought I was gone for sure, man.
Well, what's confusing to a lot of people is you're obviously this like intense, healthy guy, and you're fit and you're lifting weights and you're looking jacked. Like, is it a condition that you were born with, a genetic condition?
It is most definitely hereditary. My mother and all 9 of her siblings all passed away from heart-related problems, and my mom had the CHF and lungs, and so none of them lived past 72. My mom died at 63. They all passed away from
How
that.
old are you now?
I'm 58.
And so you've gotten through 2 of them so far.
Yeah, so far.
And what did they do after the second heart attack?
Well, the next thing, I had a pacemaker installed, and I already had the metal valve, and I think they've done just about all they can do to this. So this one I got with me now, so they tell me the next step is a transplant.
Ooh, man, that's intense.
Yeah, but you know what, Joe? It's not so intense for me. I think I have an advantage to somebody else who might be getting the news, and that advantage is I've been through so much already, man. Until it's just. And when you flatline 3 times, it ain't too much else can throw you for too many loops. I got a lot of faith.
Yeah. Now, so are you in line for a transplant now? Is that how that works?
Well, yeah. Well, it's a really long process to even get on the list. Mm-hmm. So I'm going through that process now. I'm almost through the end. But it's a really long process. They presented my case to the doctors who performed the actual transplant, and they said that I'm a good candidate and everything's looking up right now, except I may have a little throwback. I had a cancer biopsy yesterday, and if that's positive, then that's going to hold me up a little bit.
Oh, Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, I know.
It's just crazy because when you look at a guy like you, and you look at you especially when you're in your prime, you think there's nothing's gonna stop this guy.
Shit, I didn't think so either. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like your muscles are strong, your heart's a muscle. Shit, his heart's got to be ridiculous.
Yeah, I thought so. I thought it was indestructible, Joe, but obviously I was wrong.
Well, you pretty much, correct me if I'm wrong, but you pretty much became famous from the internet, right? And that's really what launched you, right?
Definitely. Now, nobody knew who I was until I was 53 years old. When I was world champion, nobody knew or gave a fuck about who.
So that's pretty much when I found out about you.
Yeah.
Then when you first started making YouTube videos, mm-hmm. That's when I found out about you. I think someone on Twitter sent me people send me cool shit on Twitter all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I retweet it or I'll find out about it and send it to other people. And someone sent me some, I've seen a bunch of your videos, but one of them was you working out with Tyron Woodley, the UFC welterweight champion. And I was like, Jesus Christ, he's going to break him. You got Tyron doing all these crazy supersets and all this different shit. And so have you worked with a lot of MMA fighters?
Not a lot, but a few. And Oh man, Joe, are we going to talk about the fake feud that?
That wasn't. Yeah, we could talk about it, but it wasn't a fake feud.
Oh man, it really.
Your light is killing me.
It
keeps lighting your face up.
We gotta talk about it.
Well, people thought that we were really upset at each other.
Yeah.
But I was. The debate was, and this is a constant debate in MMA, whether big muscles enhance you or hurt you. And my take on it is they do both. My take on it is the bigger the muscle, the more power you have. And I think Tyron is a perfect example of a guy who's figured out how to use them perfectly. Like what he does is he conserves his energy, and when he sprints, you can't stop him. So like when he's in the cage and he has these moments of explosion, the amount of horsepower that he can generate in a short period of time is just above and beyond everybody else in the division. And it's a terrifying thing for everybody in the division. But he can't operate at the same pace constantly like some of the guys can. Some of the guys who have less muscle, they're carrying around less mass, they have less oxygen requirements, they can go longer, but they just can't generate the same kind of power. But what Tyron's figured out how to do pretty brilliantly is how to conserve his energy into these bursts. And then now, like his big criticism earlier in his career was that he would gas out as he got into the later rounds. But now he's able to fight 5 rounds no problem. He just fights it at his pace.
Exactly. But that's not exactly I want to start it with this, Joe. Okay, now, for all the people who said that I would never be able to sit down across the table from Joe Rogan, I want to take a special moment to say fuck y'all right now. I'm here, and I attacked Joe Rogan on the internet. I attacked him, and I want to explain. I got the opportunity to explain to you. It's true. I did attack Joe Rogan on it, and I have the opportunity to explain to you why exactly I did that.
Okay.
And I want to do that because I don't want you to think I'm just an asshole.
No, I didn't think you were an asshole at all. It didn't bother me at all.
Oh, okay.
It didn't change my feelings. I never attacked you back.
No, you sure did. But you know what you did do, Joe?
What?
That I couldn't get you to do before that? Was you actually talk to me.
You were trying to talk to me before
I wanted to talk to you, Joe.
I didn't know that.
I had people, because I'm really cool with a lot of UFC fighters, and I said, well, I wonder if he even knows them. But I had people that was especially set out to keep tagging you until you. We're going to get you on the podcast, CT.
People try to do that. That shit does not work.
Yeah,
this is the best way to not get on the podcast is to get a bunch of people to try to get you on the podcast.
Oh my God! It's a CT. We're gonna get you. Hey Joe, we want to have CT on. And my response is always, Joe, he probably don't even know who the fuck I am, man. Just quit tagging me. He don't even know who the fuck I am. Just quit tagging him. Don't bother the man. That was my response to them all the time. I just said, look, don't bother Joe. He's busy. You don't know who the fuck I am. I'm not, not in that league, so don't even bother him. Then I said, well, you know what? I got these fighters. I know all these fighters, and they friendly with me. I said, maybe Joe do know who I am. And I'm like, after a while, maybe Joe just don't like my ass. No. So I said, so when the Tyron Woodley thing came up and Joe was talking about the muscular guy, I said, well, here's my opportunity. I said, hey, Joe, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And as soon as I said, hey, Joe, that motherfucker don't know what the fuck you're talking about, then you responded to me.
Well, I responded to you because I like you.
Oh, wow.
That's why I responded to you.
Yeah,
like,
well, I really.
That's why I didn't attack you back.
Yeah.
Like, I get why people. Here's the thing. I get why people would think that I don't respond because I don't like you. I just can't keep up. There's no
man,
way.
I understand the hell.
I found out I have 1.6 million fake followers though.
Oh,
or at
wow.
least apparently that's not a real good measurement. The Twitter audit. It's just people who don't use their account to tweet. Maybe they just check Twitter. I don't know. I don't know whether or not. But I've never paid for any of the fake ones. Whatever. They might be Russian bots. I don't know what it is, but. There's too many people.
Yeah,
if I look at my mentions, and then at least 1% of them are assholes. So you read one asshole's thing, he's like, "Fuck this." You just put your phone down. So it's not a matter of like me not liking people. It's a matter of me it being in an impossible situation. There's no way I can keep up with all those people.
Yeah, you're only one guy. I understand that completely.
I am the only one guy. I don't let anybody fuck with my Twitter. Nobody's doing that. That's all me. So yeah. So if you get a tweet from me, it's from me. And there's no way I can keep up with all of them. So people try to talk to me and get a hold of me if you think I'm ignoring you. It's just, I'm ignoring everything.
Yeah. Well, now I don't feel so bad. Yeah, that was it. I wanted to get your attention. I was trying to get that. So that's why I came out with the attack. And
well, it worked.
Yeah, it did. At least you got. I was trying to be nice for all the time. As soon as I'm an asshole, then he saw. I said, "Oh man!" I said, "Hey, okay, Joe, you're absolutely right. I jumped on you. I shouldn't have jumped on you like that." But we do possess a little difference of opinion on the muscle guys.
Right. Yeah, you do. So let's tell me what you think.
Okay. I was trying to explain that, and I know you have to have known guys like this that are naturally just more muscular,
yes,
more built, and they look like they lift weights and work out, but they don't. Right. Guys like, I know this guy, Herschel Walker.
Sure.
Outstanding athlete, and Bo Jackson, for example. These guys, fantastic athletes, muscular, very muscular guys, but I think if you were born muscular, there's a difference in a guy that goes in the gym and works out 3-4 hours a day and adds muscle on. He started out, a normal guy. But if you were born with that muscle, then you were born with the cardiovascular system, the lungs, and whatnot to support that muscle. And you take it way, way back to guys like Jim Thorpe, okay? Head and shoulders above all the other athletes of his era because he was born that way. So he was born, the good Lord give us the cardiovascular system, the lungs and everything to go along with that extra muscle that we were born with in some cases. Now, I thought that you were making a blanket statement and they covered a lot of, that all muscular guys are going to tire out because of the extra muscle. And I disagree because I think if they were born with that muscle, then they were born with the support system to support that muscle.
I think there's a lot of logic to that. I think it makes sense. But I do think that if you have a certain amount of muscle, like there's just no way you're going to have the same cardiovascular capabilities as someone that's built like a marathon runner. You're not going to have, the marathon runner there's advantages and disadvantages, I think, to all sorts of body types, especially when it comes to fighting. There's a big advantage to being powerful. It's scary. You look at a guy like Woodley, you go, oh, shit. You can't stop him. Like, the only thing that's going to stop him is him getting tired, or you got to catch him when he's coming in, right? He's just faster than you, stronger than you. So there's benefits to that. But I think that when it comes to, like, you're never going to see a marathon runner that's built like Woodley. They just don't exist. So even though he has the cardiovascular system and the support system that's designed for that build that he's born with, he still is never going to be able to compete with like an elite triathlete because your body has to be smaller. You have to have less oxygen requirements, less weight that you're carrying around. There's no way. But there's benefits. It's a real like balancing act, I think, in MMA because you have to have some muscle. You have to be able to get guys off you. You have to be able to get up from the bottom. You have to be able to explode. You have to be able to close the distance quickly. There's a lot of like real benefits to being powerful. But then there's it's a balancing act,
Yeah, you're right, Joe. But here we go. It's not just muscle. You don't see marathon runners that are 250 pounds either. They can be fat, smooth butterball, and still not. It's not because of the musculature that they just bigger guy. Period. Would have a hard time being a marathon runner. Sure. So the musculature, that's where we have a little, I don't think it's the musculature because that musculature, if you're just born more muscular, and you can look at little kids in grade school and you see some of the kids are going to have a six-pack, they're going to just be built better than the other kids. Yep. And if that muscle, you were born with that muscle, in my opinion, it's just my opinion, Joe. If you were born with that muscle and that musculature, it's not, it's not going to be detrimental, and your system is made for, it's the good Lord made your system able, and it's a bit. But you're right. You won't see anybody built like Tyron Woodley running in the New York Marathon or winning the New York Marathon.
He could run it.
He could run it, but he won't win it. He's going to be a little bit behind.
He'll be right behind Oprah.
Yeah, and me.
Oprah did a marathon in like 4 hours and 20 minutes recently. That's pretty fucking impressive.
Hey, she would beat me, man.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're right, but I think that that's just a bigger person, period. It's not how they're defined or the definition of musculature. I know Boss Rutan. I talked to Boss Rutan a little bit about it, and I say, hey, man, Boss, you are built like a fucking statue and shit. And he goes, oh, man, he was quick. Hey, man, but I don't lift weights. And I said, you're proving my point.
Right.
You're proving my point, dude. And that's what I'm saying. If you were born that way, you didn't go in the gym and lift weight. I don't lift weight. I don't like to. You're proving my point, Boss. Right. You're right. You don't, you didn't get that muscle from going in the gym and pumping iron and you were born that way. And so.
Well, he was born that way, but Boss also does a tremendous amount of plyos, like a lot of explosive stuff, like all of his bag work. You ever see Boss hit the bag?
Oh, my God.
Jesus,
tremendous, man. Oh, man, that dude is bad.
He's ferocious.
Yes.
And everything he does like with 1,000% effort. So, his workouts, like he would tell me that the way he would work out was when he would prepare for a 5-minute round, when he would start to get in shape, he would go as hard as he could for like a minute and then like be exhausted, and then he would work himself up to 1.5 minutes, then he'd work himself up to 2 minutes, and then by the end of his training camp he could go 5 minutes full clip. I'm like, that's a fucking crazy method.
It fucking worked though, didn't it?
But against that is Boss's body started to deteriorate because he's so goddamn tough. Like, he has no cartilage in his knees. His knees are completely shot. He kept shooting cortisone in all of his joints, like whenever he'd have injuries, so his joints are all fucked up. He's got tendonitis everywhere.
Wow.
And it's just his mind was too strong for like the vehicle that it was carrying his mind around.
Wow. Yeah.
He's ferocious dude.
Still one of, he's one of the best of all time.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think about Matt Hughes?
I love Matt Hughes.
Okay, how's he built?
He's built like a tank.
Have you ever seen him gas out?
Well, no, but Matt Hughes in his day. Let me see how to put this. Like, first of all, he's not built like a tank, like maybe the way Woodley's built is a little bit more slight than Woodley, but still pretty goddamn thick. But also, like, what he was able to do, too, was he was such a good wrestler. He was able to dictate where the fight takes place. And a good wrestler can control situations, take guys down, and then, once you're on top, like, you get a break. You could rest, and then, he would use his ground and pound and submit guys. He was one of the first guys ever, too, that was a high-level wrestler that started submitting dudes.
Yeah.
Submitted George St Pierre. A lot of people forget about that.
Yeah, I remember that. George is a good friend of mine, too, but also built really well.
Built like a brick shit house. Yeah, another one.
And cardio is pretty damn good.
Not bad.
Yeah, you're making my point for me.
Well, it's just, I just think there's requirements, right?
Yeah.
And if you can get into a physical shape where you can use those muscles the way you need to do, the way you need to do inside the octagon. I mean, there's obviously a great benefit to being muscular.
Well, I think that guys that were naturally born like that, and I think St Pierre and Hughes both were. I mean, it wasn't Matt a farm boy?
Oh yeah,
yeah. I think those guys were born.
Sure, his brother's built just like him, too.
Yeah, and if you're born like that, then I think But the guys that go in the gym and put on muscle. They add the muscles of what they call built. I call built muscle.
So they have smaller hands, smaller frame.
Yeah, when you got that built muscle tires out real fast. And I agree with you 100% on a guy that has built muscle, that went into the gym and pumped iron and got his muscles that way. I agree with you 100%, Joe. You're absolutely correct. He's going to tire out those added on muscles. The oxygen's going to suck the wind, and he's going to be tired as fuck in no time.
Are you aware of Francis Ngannou?
Oh, yeah.
Woo! He's fighting this weekend, and Francis Ngannou just broke the world record for the most power ever shown in a punch. They have this machine that they use worldwide. It's widely accepted that this is like one of the best ways to measure a punch. It's this large pad, and you hit it with full power, and it generates. And Francis Ngannou beat the second place by some insane amount of power. I mean, he's a ridiculously powerful dude.
Oh my God!
But he scares the shit out of everybody. Here he is, right here. So they show this is this thing. It shows what the original world record was, and then Ngannou broke it by like 3,000 pounds or some shit.
God! Look at that!
Yeah, he's ridiculous. He's terrifying. You know, they found this dude. He was a homeless guy.
He was homeless?
He was homeless, living in France. And he made his way into a gym. And I believe he wanted to box. And when they brought him in, so I guess his, 129,161 units. The previous one was 114,000. Like, what in the fuck? And Tyrone Spong, who's a beast.
Yeah.
And so Francis Ngannou, who's fighting this weekend, who is fighting Alistair Overeem, who's another beast.
So
fantastic fight.
Any predictions, Joe?
Chaos.
Yeah, I think that's a safe.
I predict chaos.
That's a safe good prediction right there.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking about this on my MMA podcast that Alistair's been stopped. I think in MMA he's been stopped at least 11 times, and I think he's been stopped 3 or 4 times in kickboxing as well. There's like 14 KOs plus knocked out in his career, either TKO'd or knocked out. Like, that's the guy that's got to be worried about getting hit by the guy who's got the world record punch.
Yeah, so, it's going to be youth and exuberance versus experience.
Craftiness.
Yeah, craftiness.
Very crafty.
It's going. That's what it's going to be.
I agree. The consequences of Alistair getting hit though are so grave. Ngannou is so terrifying.
Yeah. And you think, I mean, possibilities are pretty good.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I mean, Ngannou was supposed to fight Junior Dos Santos at one point, which was also a really interesting fight. But I think the Alistair Overeem fight is more dangerous for him, but also it's going to let everybody know. Because Alistair's at the top of the heap in the heavyweight division.
Right.
If Ngannou can get by Alistair, most likely he'll get a shot at the title very soon.
Right. So what do you think his ground game?
Well, we don't know too much about him other than he submitted one guy in the octagon, and we know that he does have submission skills. He was one fight by submission, I think Anthony Hamilton. But I think he's first of all, every fight starts standing up. And you got to get through hell to get that guy to the ground. Good luck. And he's been taken down before and survived and came back to knock the guy out. So. And he's also, still learning and growing.
Yeah, I mean, he just started, really.
Pretty much. Yeah, he's only been doing it for a few years. He's terrifying.
Yeah, potential is unbelievable.
Yeah, well, you know what I think he represents? I think he represents a real world-class athlete that's fighting in MMA, whereas, like, maybe that guy would have gone to football or somewhere else in another era.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
But now that MMA is... it's like I think the same thing about John Jones. Like, John Jones, I think, could have done anything. But John Jones got into MMA, and you see what happens when you see a real world-class athlete.
Oh, man. John's I like John, and I got to meet him a few times, and he told me that he listens to me before he goes out and, before he goes out and fight. And that was a real honor for him to say that. He likes this I am the one speech that I did, and he always used to say it along with me. See, we was standing there yelling in his phone, I am the one.
That's awesome.
And then he goes out and kills people. Like,
he does.
He's a murderer, man.
Yeah, I hope he sorts all his problems out. I don't know what the fuck's going on with his recent positive drug test. So we'll see.
It seems like the only guy that can beat John Jones is John Jones.
Well, that's what they used to say about Tyson.
Yep, and it's true.
And it was true.
It's true.
You won all of your world records drug-free.
Yeah, 100% drug-free. I was drug-free for 37, 38 years, but I did try roids in 1980. Or 81, I believe it was. Before it became illegal, I tried them.
What'd you try?
I went to a doctor, and I don't know if I should say this fucker's name because he might still be in business, still alive, but the same doctor that Arnold and all the guys who were in the magazines, 'cause I thought everybody was drug-free. I didn't think,
right.
I didn't think.
Because nobody talks. It's a weird thing about those magazines, right?
Yeah, they don't
Everybody would talk about the
nothing
creatine they're taking, branched-chain amino acids.
Yeah. Oh, fucking, man. I couldn't wait to go out and get some of them amino acids and shit, man. So they got me for sure, because I thought that's what it was taking. But I won a couple of little contests, And the guy who was promoting the contest, he came to me and said, "Hey, what are you taking, CT?" And I had 20-inch arms, then. I thought every fucking body I seen in those magazines, Arnold, everybody else, was drug-free. He goes, "What are you taking?" And I told him the amino acids and shit. And he goes, "Oh, man, what kind of steroids are you taking?" I said, "What's that?" And he said, "You don't know what a steroid is."
You didn't even know what a steroid was?
I didn't even know what the fuck it was, man.
Wow.
I'm from Compton. So he told me, "You got to go to this doctor." And he gave me the address and everything. And like I said, I don't know if I should say the doctor's name, but I still remember. And I went to the doctor, and guy looked at my nose and ears and shit and listened to my lungs and gave me a prescription for Deca. Yeah, he gave me a prescription for some Deca-Durabolin. And I took it right to Kaiser Pharmacy. And pharmacist, I said, "You know what this is?" And I said, "Yeah, it's fucking steroids, I think." And he said, "Yeah, it's bad. You don't need this shit." Well, look, I want to give it a try. I want to be a professional bodybuilder. And they told me if I want to be a professional and be like Arnold and Frank and the rest of the guys, I got to take this shit. So I want to take it. And he gave it to me grudgingly. He filled the prescription for me. I took it on. And I took my Deca, and then I went back to the doctor, and he gave me another prescription for testosterone. So I took Deca and testosterone.
And did you notice a difference?
Fuck yes. Yeah, fuck yes, I noticed the difference.
But you got off of it.
Yeah, I got off of it, but I had reasons. And you want me to tell you what those were?
Sure.
Okay, it worked. It definitely worked. I got fucking hard as, just tight as fuck. Right. And but it also I don't know if it does this to every one of the people. When I tell them about this, sometimes nah, you must have been an asshole beforehand, and that's quite possibly true. Because I was pretty much an asshole because of the way I was raised, Right. I had a bad attitude going in. So when I got on the scene, it seemed to amplify my bad attitude. And I had a short fuse, was this a fighter, UFC fighter named Short Fuse?
Ed Herman.
Yeah. Well, I should have had that nickname way before Ed Herman, man, because I had fucking Short Fuse big time, and everything pissed me off. So I had a really bad attitude. I was married at the time. I had a real bad attitude with my wife, and she couldn't do shit wrong, Joe. I mean, nothing, man. But okay, that was part of the reason. And another big fucking thing with me is what I love more than muscles and lifting weights and fast cars, and I love all that shit, is sex. And a big old giant thing. When I rolled over to have sex and nothing was happening, I said, "Fuck these steroids." Fuck these steroids.
So this when you got off of them?
Yeah, nobody told me. And
the crash.
It was like, "Oh, you got to take this other shit to make this shit."
Clomid and all that
like,
stuff.
Man, fuck that. Anything, Joe. Anything.
That kills your boners.
Fuck it. Fuck it. Oh, no, I don't. Anything that's going to do that. I mean, I'd rather be 110 pounds soaking wet and still be able to, get my boner. Fuck that. So
it must have affected your lifting, too, because what comes is just a giant dip in your natural testosterone once you get off of it, right?
Oh.
It's bad, huh?
It was because I decided, hey, fuck this shit. Fuck this shit.
How long were you on it for?
A total of 6 months, but what they do is, they told us back then, you do 2 months on and 2 months off. So it took longer, so I do 2 months on, I take 2 months off, 2 months on, 2 months off.
Right.
That was the
protocol.
Yeah, that's what they told us. That's what Dr. Man, whatever his name is, told us how to do it. So I was told 6 months, but it took longer than that because I had 2 months off in between, 2 months on. And that stuff, it definitely. But what they don't tell you is when you stop taking this shit, when you just stop taking it cold turkey like that, every fucking thing that you gained during that time, and I gained, I was ready for. I had one little small bodybuilding contest. I thought I was ready for fucking Mr. America. after this shit. You know, I'm like, oh fuck, I just got so much tighter, and I had more veins and shit than ever. And I'm like, oh man, this is great shit. But when you get off that shit, everything that you gain, you lose it, and then some. I lost any strength gains that I might have got from it, or any, you know, the hardness. Definitely, I had to start from lower than where I was before I started taking it.
Right, because your testosterone's all gone. They say you do gain something and you keep something once your body normalizes. You know, you do have some sort of gains. That's one of the arguments that they say about people that have taken steroids and gotten off of them, that if you can normalize your testosterone, you're still going to have an advantage over people that have never taken it before. But it's subjective.
You know, I don't know how true that is, because I felt like that every single game that I possibly, I felt like I lost ground, actually, because I just stopped, you know, cold turkey, and I think I actually lost ground. Are
you supposed to wean yourself off? Is that how you're supposed to do it?
I think so, but, you know, but I'm telling you, when I roll over, you know, I'm fucking 21 years old, and I thought that sex every day was the normal.
Right.
I mean, you just, that's what you get married for, so you can have sex every day, man. That's one of the benefits. And if I can't have sex every day, then, you know, hey, something's wrong. Like, fuck this, you know. So that was my normal thing. And I'm probably pretty sure that my wife at the time probably didn't think that, but, you know, I was like, she probably got tired. Well, this motherfucker, but, you know, that was, she got a break when the steroid thing, she got a little break for the first time ever, you know, we was married. Like, you know, like, oh, no. Anything that's going to fuck with that, fuck this.
But that's what gets people back on it. A lot of people. A lot of people get psychologically addicted.
Of course. I mean, you jack, and I talked about it, you know, and I was interviewed in magazine articles and stuff a few times when I was world champion back in the day. And I brought it up in the articles. I never thought it was anything to hide, you know, or anything like that. I said, yeah, you know, I wish that I had never done it. I wish I could say now that if I look back, I wish I could say I have a perfectly clean record, like my training partner, Richard Sherman, we've trained together for 20 years. And this guy, perfect record, never even tried it. Well, he was stronger than me. His mind was stronger than mine. I peer pressure and wanting to be in the magazines and wanting to make a living doing something that I love instead of punching the clock every fucking day. That appeal was too great for me as a young guy for me to pass it up. I wanted to do something that I loved and make money at it way back then. But I wound up working at the post office for 28 years.
Well, it makes sense. I mean, it definitely makes sense that the appeal would be so strong. I mean, it works. I mean, that's the big reason why people want to take it out of sports. And I don't know if you ever watched that documentary that's on Netflix called Icarus. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't seen Icarus.
Icarus is all about the Russian anti-doping state-sponsored program. The Russian, well, I should say pro-doping. They literally gave steroids to every single one of their athletes.
That makes more sense,
and it's a crazy documentary, man, because the guy, Brian Fogel, who's the director, he's in it because he was an amateur cyclist, and what he wanted to do is an experiment. So he cycled this race 1 year, totally clean, and then the next year he went to this Russian doctor and said, just fucking juice me up to the gills. Like, let's do this. And they just shot him up with everything. And in the process of him getting to know this doctor, the scandal broke out about the Sochi Olympics, about the Russians cheated during the Sochi Olympics, and it's all documented in this film as the news is breaking. And then the guy who's the Russian doctor has to flee Russia. He leaves his family behind. They take his family's house, and they take all their money, and they're basically making his family homeless to try to get him to come back to Russia. He's in protective custody in America right now, and he detailed the entire program. Everyone was hot. Everyone was on something. They won 13 What's hilarious, they just took some of the medals away, and the medals they took were the most bullshit medals, like
none of the important
rhythmic
ones.
gymnastics. Who can have this one? They took like 4 bullshit medals away, but they kept the big ones. They kept wrestling. They kept all the big ones.
Wow, that's bullshit.
It's bullshit indeed.
I did see Big, Strong, Fast.
That's an interesting take, right? Because they're pro steroids.
Right. Yeah, that is interesting. They are pro steroids. And a lot of people are.
Yeah.
A lot of people are.
Well, the argument is, I mean, I see it in terms of fair competition. I see the argument against it for fair competition. It makes sense. But like, I also see the argument in terms of like, if you're going to be taking amino acids and creatine and all these different things that do give you some sort of a benefit, why not take the shit that gives you the real benefit?
Well, Joe, I don't find fault with people who decide to take roids because, like I said, I'm a 21-year-old kid and I took them. So how the fuck can I talk shit about anybody who decides to make the same decision that I did that many years ago? You know, I'd be a hypocrite asshole if I was, to do that. As long as everybody in the competition that you're in, whatever that competition might be, if you fucking flipping pies or whatever the fuck it is, cut and grab, whatever the fuck it is, if everybody else in there is doing it, then it's a level playing field. But when you got guys that are trying to compete naturally against guys that are not, then it becomes unfair. So if they have a division, and they do it a lot in these weightlifting contests and things now, they have divisions that are called natural divisions, and they actually test for steroids and stuff like that, then maybe they should do something like that for the fighters. Hey, we ain't gonna test you guys. If you motherfuckers, you just come on in here and whatever you bring what you got. Yeah,
but they're kind of doing that in Japan.
Really?
Yeah, Japan has an organization called Ryzen, where it's essentially an offshoot of Pride, or at least some of the people are involved that were involved in Pride. And in Pride, like I had Ensign Inoue on the podcast, and he was talking about his Pride contract. He said it specifically stated, "We will not test you for steroids," like in all caps and shit.
Damn, no wonder they had some fucking animals in Pride. Man.
Pride was, in a lot of ways, in a lot of people's eyes, that was the golden age of MMA. It's in terms of just sheer performance.
Oh, man.
But you got to wonder, like all those guys, like Fedor and Crow Cop and all those guys in their prime, like how much shit were they on? Were they on things? I mean, nobody wants to talk about it.
If that's in the goddamn, in the contract, I would suspect that, maybe they possibly were.
Perhaps. And then, and people want to say, like Fedor, who most people think is like the greatest heavyweight of all time, or at least it's an argument, right? He was real good friends with Putin, who is at the head of the Russian state-sponsored doping program. Like, what are the odds that they just let him compete clean? Like, what are the odds they didn't juice him up? Like, if they're not testing you?
I don't know. He didn't have a steroid body, though.
Well, you say that, but in the early days, he sure as fuck did.
Really?
Yeah. Pull up that picture of Fedor with the kettlebells. There's a famous picture of him. He was a big proponent of. I mean, he didn't lift weights per se.
Right.
He did like kettlebell exercises, which are weights, but not like bench press and that kind of shit and curls. He did a lot of plyos and a lot of explosive strength training exercises and things like that. But when you look at this picture, like he was pretty fucking jacked.
And he would definitely knock your fucking head off too.
Oh, he was an animal.
Yeah, he kind of looks like a power lifter.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He was built. And in his early fights, he was very built. And then later in his career, there's a lot of things going on later in his career. But it seems like when he came to America, one of the first things he did, if he was ever on anything before, he wasn't on it when he came to America. Because it looks like he also stopped weight training and only concentrated on sport-specific exercises, which a lot of people disagree with. Some people say that you have to have some kind of weight training. You have to have some sort of strength and conditioning program.
Well, I would, of course, I'm from that back. That's my background. I would say yes.
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
I think so too. I think you need both. And I think you certainly need skill. That's the most important thing.
Definitely.
But in order to really highlight that skill, you got to have that body up to full potential. You got to be peaking. You got to be ready to rock and roll.
My boy Matt Mitrione.
Knocked him out. Knocked out Fedor. That was huge.
Yeah,
that's a huge feather in his cap.
That's my buddy.
Yeah,
we just had
I
lunch.
love that guy. He's hilarious.
Oh, he is.
Funny dude.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Super cool.
Yeah, funny dude.
We had lunch together and got to know him even better, man. We had been talking and shit, and I get to talk to a lot of fighters, man. Well,
you're an inspirational dude. People like you.
Yeah, you know, I'm just blessed, man. I tell you what, Joe, I have no idea why that, you know, the first video I did for YouTube, the Strong's Man You Never Heard of, I don't know why people watched it.
I'll tell you why. Because it's fuel. Everybody who wants to do something in their life has ups and downs, and we need fuel. Like, I'll tell you, I got some fuel today when you were in front of those kids in Compton and you were talking to them about obsession being a good thing if you want to be great at anything. I wanted to shut that fucking TV off and go run the hills, man. Like, the fuel like that is important for people. Like, seeing someone like you get fired up and talk about things, it energizes the people that are watching. Like, every time you put out one of those YouTube videos and 1 million people watch it, how many of those 1 million people engaged in an activity that maybe they weren't going to do that day? How many of them went to the gym when they weren't going to go to the gym? How many of them just decided to get their fucking career in order, get their life in order, just get their shit together when they maybe weren't? Like, we need each other. People need each other.
Yeah.
In a weird way. And people need people like you.
You know what's the reason why I surprised me, Joe, is because I told him right in the video, if you don't like what I'm saying, turn the motherfucker off.
Perfect.
I mean, don't fucking.
Yeah.
I don't give. Look, I didn't know that they paid you. You know, that YouTube was. I was broke as fuck anyway. I was walking back and forth to the gym to train people. I didn't have any. I was a horrible personal trainer. People would come, you know. First of all, I went to try to get a job as a personal trainer at a lot of different gyms, and they would ask me if I had my certificate. And I said, look, I'm a 6-time world champion. I don't need a fucking certificate. I know how to lift weights. And they go, oh, yes, you do, motherfucker. If you don't got the certificate, get on. You know, so I would leave with my little plaques and shit under my arm, you know, and I got turned down a bunch of times. And then finally I went to a hardcore gym and they said, hey, ain't you CT Fletcher? Yeah, man. Hey, well, we know. And I had to go but I went to these chain gyms, so they would turn me down left and right.
Can't go to those places.
The fuck out of here,
They're not
man.
for you anyway.
Oh no. And I was like I said, I was a horrible person trainer.
You'd be breaking those people. They would quit.
Oh my God. They come in and they'd say, hey, at one session, they pay me for a month, but they trained one time with me, and they're like, hey, no. And I'm like, hey, if you pussy out that fucking fast, take your fucking ass back home. Here's your money. Take your fucking money. Go. And I needed that fucking money too, Joe. I needed it bad, man. Like I said, I was walking because when I had the heart condition, I used up all my sick leave and stuff. I was working at the post office. I used up all the sick leave, and they let me go. They let me go from it. The thing is, you can't get let go from a government job. It's bullshit. You can't. I'm a living example.
So they let you go because you were sick?
Well, I used up all my sick leave and everything. I had a rough recovery. The recovery was rough. So I stayed out too long. They gave me so much. I stayed out too long. My sick leave was all worn out, and they actually let me go. But before they let me go, they granted me full, health-related. They gave it to me for a year. I had
benefits.
Yeah, everything for a year. And then unexplainably, the same doctor who granted it to me, which was their doctor, took it away a year later. So a year later, broke as fuck. I don't got no job. I don't got no benefits. After working for 28 years there, I don't got no kind of retirement, no nothing. So I'm walking around. That's when I'm trying to get a personal training job. I'm walking around trying to get a personal training job, and they finally gave me one at a hardcore gym. They gave me a personal training job. And then, like I said, I didn't have very many clients at all. The guys that I call the original iron addicts are the guys that stuck with me. And, even I put them through hell. They liked it. They come back for more. They couldn't. Those are guys that I call the original iron addicts crew.
Yeah, there's some people that are just not going to have the mental fortitude for that. But that's like, for someone starting out, it's kind of crazy to go to you. Yeah.
No, I'm definitely not for the beginner or the average guy.
No. What you were saying to those kids is very important. Like, there's a difference between the kind of effort and focus that you want to put in order to get yourself fit. Oh, I just want to be in good shape. Yeah, I just want to be able to do 10 push-ups and 10 chin-ups and normal shit. There's a difference between that person and the type of person that's going to seek out excellence. The type of person is going to go to a guy like you and go, listen, I just want every day to give 100%. I want to drain myself on that bench. I want to drain myself at that squat rack. I want to have nothing left when I leave here. Can you do that?
Yeah.
Most people are gonna go, fuck that.
It sounds good.
Yeah, fuck that. After like 3 weeks of that, your fucking joints are aching and your body's falling apart.
No, fuck you, CT. I'm out of here. Keep the money, man. Sometimes, they would show up once and I didn't see them no more. No explanation. Didn't even say. One person told me they're going to the bathroom. I never seen them no more. I'm going to the bathroom. Fuck it. I'm never coming back.
Did you get a lot of injuries when you were training?
No, I was lucky in that. My first career as a power lifter, I didn't get injured. I never had any injuries, and I didn't, wrap up or really, man.
That's crazy.
I had bones. My bones were really strong, and
tendons, no shoulder problems,
no
nothing?
Shoulder problems.
Wow,
nothing,
even Dorian. Dorian Yates is all fucked up now. I had him on the podcast, and one of his arms is just jacked. He can't do push-ups anymore. His shoulder's all fucked up, and all the connective tissue's torn off the bone, and just.
Yeah.
It's amazing that you don't. I mean, you must have excellent genetics in that sense.
That's what I credit to. Exactly. It's just the genetics. As much as my dad, I hated him growing up. I got to credit Buddy Fletcher for that, man. I hated the dude growing up, Joe. I really did.
That was a big part of your documentary, man. That was intense. When you told that story about getting a gun, because you were supposed to go and apologize to the teacher because you had said something to the teacher, like you were disagreeing about evolution, and your father got mad at you and said you're going to go apologize to the teacher, but the teacher was sick.
Yeah.
And you didn't even get a chance to say, no, she was sick. You just said no, and he broke your nose.
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah. That's a heart-wrenching story as a father.
Yeah. That's Buddy Fletcher's rule right there, man. I mean, he tell you to do something, goddamn it, you better do it.
Yeah.
So when I went after growing up like that, I grew up in fear. Yeah. I was afraid of my dad all the time, and but growing up in Buddy Fletcher's household, when I went into the military, it was a piece of cake, man. I was used to it. I was already, used to yes, sir, and also standing at attention and saluting and shit and doing impossible shit or whatever he asked me to fucking do. I was already used to it. So the Army was, I already been doing it. Other guys crying and shit. I've been doing this my whole fucking life, man. No problem.
How did you get on YouTube?
A guy came into the gym, and he said his name was Arash Babu. I got to give Arash credit for that. He was a strength project, and he had a big following already on YouTube. And he said, hey, can I interview you for YouTube? I go, what the fuck is YouTube? And he said, well, it's this social media thing. And I had one question. Can I say whatever the fuck I want to say? And he said, yeah, you can say whatever the fuck you want. I said, can I cuss? He said, yes, cuss all you want to. I said, fuck it, it's on, man. Let's go. Yeah.
That guy, man, think about how that works. How like one thing leads to all these other things. Like that guy coming in and talking to you led to you inspiring countless millions of people. Yeah. Like that's crazy.
It is absolutely crazy, Joe. I never thought in a million years, that something like that would happen. I never did. I always wanted, as a kid, it's funny, I wanted to inspire people because my dad was a preacher. He's a Korean War vet and a preacher. So I grew up in a super religious household, super religious. Everything was a sin. Every fucking thing was a sin. You couldn't do shit. Dating girls, that was a sin. Going to the movies, that was a sin. Listening to whatever kind of music that was. If it wasn't gospel music, it was a sin to listen. Everything. Wow. Yeah, I'm telling you, everything was a fucking sin. So, but Buddy Fletcher is, I recently, since this last heart attack, I recently went to him. I was waiting for 58 years to hear an apology from him that was never going to come. And it was eating me up, Joe. It was tearing me to fucking pieces, man. Because I was, being an old dude, I would wake up at night punching and kicking and shit, and I'm still fighting Buddy Fletcher at 56, 57, years old. I'm still fighting this dude because I'm still carrying around this hate. I hated him, but it was okay because the hate was mutual. Don't think I just hated him and he didn't hate me. He told me, he got up in church and he made an announcement. He said, hey, look, I know what it is between that son, which was me, and he pointed at me, that son right there. I can get along with the rest, my other brothers, no problem, but he hated me, and he says because he's so much like me. That's why I hate him. And I want you to know that's why we can't get along. I hate you because you're so much like me.
Jesus.
Yeah. So I was like, hey, no problem. I hate your ass too.
Did you guys never worked it out?
Oh, yes, yeah, we did. Yeah. But it was, have you seen the movie? It wasn't worked out during the movie. I still didn't like him during the movie. They asked him, do you have any good recollections of when CT growing up, when his childhood? Do you have any fond recollections of you and CT, as a kid? And I was looking at him, I was waiting. I really wanted to hear if he was going to fabricate something.
Right.
Because I didn't have none. And I'm like, I want to see what this motherfucker going to say to this question. Right?
Right. And
he didn't have any either. And I was like, okay, cool. But I was ready to stop the fucking movie and just make an ass out of myself. Like, no, that's bullshit. You ain't one fucking time that we ever did anything pleasurable together, motherfucker. And I was ready to go off, but he didn't have any. So when he didn't have any, I was okay, now that's the same recollection that I have, then it's okay. But I really didn't forgive him until his last heart attack in June.
And what happened then?
When I had the heart attack in June, it seemed like a revelation came to me, and it was like, it's not hurting him. It's not hurting him at all. My dad is 86 years old. He's fine, man. I don't think he thinks that he has anything to be sorry for. I think he thinks he's done a fantastic job of raising me. And I was just waiting on an apology that was never going to come. But it was still, the hate that I had for him was eating me up. Right. So I had to get that burden off me. And I think having that last heart, I didn't want to die carrying that burden with me of hating my dad. So I went to my dad and I asked him to forgive me.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
How did you say that? What did you say?
I said, look, Dad, I have blamed you. I told him that I recently had a heart attack, and I have blamed you my entire life for a whole lot of things that went bad or went, bad. I always, blamed you for, and I'm sorry. I don't want to blame you for that anymore. And would you please forgive me for carrying this against you for my whole life? I don't want to die, letting you think that, I love you, man, and I want you to know that.
Wow.
Yeah.
How good did that feel?
I don't wake up punching and shit anymore. I'd probably be out of breath if I did anyway, but I don't wake up with those nightmares. I haven't had that nightmare since then.
Wow.
Yeah.
How did he react to that?
He was fully accepting of my apology. He graced me. He was graciously accepting my apology. So
do you communicate regularly now?
No, still don't communicate regularly.
Wow.
I just really wanted to, get that off my chest.
Just release the burden.
Yeah, I just really wanted to get that off my chest and release that burden. And I'll probably try to communicate more after I get this new heart.
It's kind of fucked up, but in a way, and I don't know why this is, but sometimes people that have gone through terrible childhoods, they recognize what it means to be a good father.
Oh,
man! I see you with your kids. I see it in the documentary, and I see how your kids are around you here.
Yeah. They came when they wanted to meet Joe Rogan too. But I have a super time. I want to make sure that if somebody asks my kid, 20 years from now, what do you have any fond memories of your dad and your child and how you go? I want to make sure that they got plenty of fucking fond memories, that they can say, my dad was we did this together. My dad loved me to death. I never had one doubt in my mind. My dad loved the shit out of me. I don't want my kids to grow up, like I did. So I put forth an extra effort to make sure that's not going to happen.
So in some sort of a way, it turned out to be positive because you're such a doting father. You're so into it. I mean, so obvious that it's like the negative consequences of how your dad treated you, like it came out of you the opposite way.
Yeah, I made it a fucking point, man, because it's miserable on that kid. But also, Joe, you know what good came out of that? The childhood the kind of childhood that I went through, I get, and I'm sure what I get is just a tenth of what you get. But it's so many thousand people that contact me and tell me, hey man, my dad, I had a fucked up childhood, and I see how you were able to come out of that. Or some kids contact me now that I'm going through a fucked up childhood, CT, and because you made it, because you were able. So that, when I look back and I used to think, well, why did I have to go through this? Why did I have to have such a fucked up childhood? It's because of that. Because I can talk about my childhood and it helps so many other people, so many other kids that are going, oh, Joe, I look back on it now and I say, it was so worth it that it wasn't even funny, man. It's so worth it. Everything that I had to go through, wanting to hide every time I heard my dad's keys in the door, wanting to just, run away from fucking home, I hated my childhood, but it was so worth it. Everything was so worth it, just being able to help one kid who might be going through the same thing. It's so fucking worth it. I count it as a blessing, man. It's just a blessing.
See, and that right there, that attitude is the reason why people are attracted to you. Because you really do like helping people. Like, you really do. You're happy that you suffered so that you could help other people. That is one of the reasons why people are so attracted to you.
Wow. Yeah. I guess, but after I tell them, hey, look, turn me the fuck off.
Yeah, but you're just trying to weed out the weak. I mean, and weed out it's not even the weak. It's the people that aren't willing to take the leap.
Wow.
Like, you can't have any excuses. Like, the excuses are a real problem with people.
Oh, my God.
It's a real problem because you give yourself a way out. Like, you can fail at things. You could try and not be able to do it. But the excuses for why you can't do it or why you're going to fail or why you don't feel up to it today or why you're tired or why you have other things on your mind, why you have other things you have to deal with first before you can start working out, that's all bullshit.
Oh, yeah, and I told them.
Yeah, you did tell them.
Yeah.
And they needed to hear it.
Wow.
People need to hear that shit.
Yeah.
They need to hear it because they create their own boundaries. They create their own borders. They create their own obstacles. They create their own things that cannot be surpassed. And all those things are just products of the mind. And it's just the ego protecting you from failure, from protecting you from that horrible feeling that you need to experience in order to move forward. If you want to move forward, you got to experience some falls. You got to slip. You got to fall down. You got to get back up. You got to try and fail. Because if you don't fail, that means you weren't trying hard enough. Because nobody's just fucking excellent at everything.
All the time.
All the time, it's impossible.
It's impossible.
If you're a good person, that means at one point in your life you fucked up.
Yeah,
you figured out how to be a better person.
Exactly.
There's no other way around it. There's no one's just great from the womb. No, I mean, unless you're the Dalai Lama or Buddha or some shit, no one is great from the womb at anything.
That's correct. Or Buddy Fletcher.
Yeah, or Buddy Fletcher. Being a human, being an athlete, being a whatever, a doctor, whatever the fuck you are trying to do, you're gonna if it's difficult to do, you're going to fuck up along the way, and some people can't handle the fuck up. They can't handle it.
So they don't even try.
They don't even try.
Exactly.
They can't, oh, it's my thyroid. I have a problem with my metabolism. Or, I have chronic fatigue syndrome. Just fucking get up and go. Just one foot in front of the other. Keep moving. Just keep moving.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, do more.
There you
Good
go.
night.
Fuck excuses.
Wait, get up in the morning. Oh, the alarm clock? That means you get up. You get the fuck up. Press that button, get the fuck up, and go. And if you don't have an out, if it's impossible to not get the fuck up and go, then you just do it. Yeah. So just don't allow that other part. Don't allow that, I'm going to hit the snooze button. Fucking snooze button is the worst shit that's ever been invented. Do you really feel better after 9 minutes? That shit doesn't do you any good.
Nope.
Just get up, bitch. Just get
up.
up.
Joe Rogan said, bitch.
Get up, bitch. Get up.
Get your fucking ass up out there, goddamn bed.
People need to hear you. You should do. That's one thing. Here's a business for you. You should do ringtones and alarms. Like an alarm, a CT Fletcher alarm every morning where it goes, instead of beep, 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 just you saying, get your fucking ass out of bed. I don't want to hear no excuses.
You know what? I do something similar to that now.
Do you?
Yeah, I've been cussing people out my whole life for nothing. And I got this thing, Book Cameo, Iron Addicts, bookcameo.com. You can find me on there. And then people pay $25, I think, or 35, one of them, for me to cuss them out. Yeah, so I get on there and cuss them out for 2 minutes straight. I cuss them out, tell them, call them all kind of motherfuckers and, shit that I've been doing my whole life for nothing, And now, the people pay me to do it, man, and it's wonderful. It is wonderful, man. Hey, one guy told me, "Hey, I want you to cuss my ex-wife out."
Ooh,
yeah,
that's a problem.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Fights. Yeah.
So I had to let her know right up front, hey, this is not me saying this.
You did it anyway.
Yeah. I did it. Oh, yeah, I did it.
I would have said no.
No, I did it. Yeah. I said, this is not me saying it. This is Gregory. And Gregory said he told me you to leave him the fuck alone. And he is not interested in your ugly ass no more.
Oh, my God.
Stop stalking him, bitch. But this is Gregory talking, not me now. So if you get your gun and shoot anybody, make sure it's Gregory and not my ass.
Did she ever get a hold of you?
No.
Whew.
Yeah,
you don't
want
that
I'm expecting her to book one for Gregory's ass.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good way to keep the business
going. Come back,
yeah. Well, I really think that those videos that you do are very important. I really do. I think that inspiration. There's like people, for some reason, there's a bunch of people that like to mock that stuff. They like to, and most of those people are out of shape.
Yeah.
They like to mock that, and they like to make fun of it. And I'm not talking about comedians. I'm talking, which is, they could be really funny doing that. But I'm talking about, there's a lot of people that sincerity, like for whatever reason, bothers them. And sincerity when it comes to inspiration and motivation, those kind of things, like for some people overdo it. Like you go to some people's pages and their Instagram page is just all a bunch of quotes.
Yeah.
It's all other people saying shit, which is fine every now and then.
Every now and then.
Yeah, but it's like your diet.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay to eat a piece of cake every now and then. Don't eat cake all day, bitch.
Oh, yeah. You're going to fucking wind up hating cake. That's what's going to happen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if you see just nothing but inspirational memes all day long, you're like, this is not working anymore. No. They don't get in.
Right. It's too much.
But a real person like you, who's already accomplished a shitload of things, who understands the benefits of real hard work and intensity and focus. When you do those videos, man, I get fired up. I get fired the fuck up. I see those videos and I just want to go to the gym right away.
Wow.
I just get fucking fired up.
And see, I didn't even think Joe Rogan knew who the fuck I was, man.
I knew who you were. That's why I didn't get upset when you were getting mad at me.
Yeah, like Joe don't even know who the fuck I am, man.
No, people know who the fuck you are, man. I mean, how many millions of people have seen your videos?
Oh, maybe one or two.
It's a lot.
Yeah, quite a few people have seen it, and way more than I ever thought would. That's for sure. Because I mean, you go on YouTube and you tell people, "Hey, turn me the fuck off." How many people are gonna keep watching it? Motherfucker says, "Turn me the fuck off." I don't give a fuck if you watch me or not. You don't like what the fuck I'm saying? Turn it off, motherfucker. How many people are gonna keep watching after you say a lot? That's shocked.
The ones you want.
Oh my God.
The ones you want are gonna keep watching.
Man, Rush. I've been able to travel the world, man, and due to Arash Babu coming in to Metroflex Gym. Yeah, going all over the world. I've been to Army base. I've been to Russia, Australia, Germany. I've been all over the fucking place. And fuck you, CT. I had so many people at the airport in Russia, and they all had beards. They all had fake beards. The women, men, everything. About 120 people met me at the airport. And here's I remember this poor kid from Compton, and that who a lot of times I didn't think I was going to make it out of my childhood, to go to Russia and have all these people with these beards on going, they steal your motherfucking sex. Man, Joe, it's like sometimes I think I actually did die on that operating table, and now I'm in heaven, man. This is my heaven. You know what I mean? So it's just fantastic. It is unbelievable. And I'm sitting across the fucking table from Joe Rogan.
I'm sitting across the table from CT Fletcher.
And after all these motherfuckers said, oh yeah, it's this big giant feud between Joe. You'll never be on. Everybody who said I'd never be on this show, fuck y'all.
It didn't bother me for a second. I was never upset at you at all. And I could see your point of view, and I could see why you would be upset at my point of view. I get it. It didn't bother me at all. I don't take things very personally.
No, you know, and immediately when you responded, I said, hey, Joe, you're absolutely 100% right. You know, it was. I really wanted to get your attention, man, more than anything. I thought, you know, I did feel, you know, I felt we had a little difference. It's a slight difference because I agree with about 90% of what you said. It's just a slight difference that we don't agree on. And as soon as you say, hey, man, you came in, you attacked me like a fucking wild man, and yep, I did, Joe. You're absolutely right. I apologize for that. I shouldn't have came at you that way. Yeah, and that was the end of the feud right now. Maybe now can I be on your fucking show, Joe Rogan?
Well, shout out to Kevin Pereira for getting us together.
Yeah, Kevin, hell yeah, man. Thank you.
So he's doing something with you right now?
Yeah, we're doing this Patreon campaign, which I'm gonna be honest with you, Joe. I hate to ask anybody for anything. I hate that. I've had a job. I mean, I'm working jobs since I was 12 years old. At 12 years old, I worked in a gas station pumping gas, and it was during the fucking gas crisis when the gas lines were super long. But I've always worked for it. I hate asking people, and this Patreon campaign is like asking people to help me, you know, now that I'm not able to travel the world, I'm not able to get out there and promote things like I used to. Patreon is a way that they can support me, and it's called Defying Death. I wanted to call it my last will and testament because if I'm not successful in my fight, and if I don't get a heart transplant, I do get a heart transplant and rejects whatever, and I'm dead, I have a record. There's a record, and I thought last will and testament would be the best thing to call it because if I lose the fight, then people can go back and see, and hopefully get some benefit. They can see how I faced. You know, you hear a lot of people. I have so many people telling me, "Oh, CT, don't worry about it. We're praying for you. We got your back." You know, but hey, none of that matters when you're in that operating room, man. I appreciate the good wishes and the goodwill and all that, but in the end, you got to face. It's a solo experience. You have to face death. Everybody will. You have to face death on your own, and nobody else can step in for you and die for you, or it's how you deal with it. So this is a permanent record of how I deal with, being in a situation where I could possibly die. And I want people to be able to look at it, just in case I make it, don't make it, whatever. They can look back and they say, well, this is how CT dealt with it. He's facing a transplant. He didn't make it, but he went in with a shit ton of faith, and he believed he was going to make it. He believed he was going to make it. And then if I don't make it, fuck it, I ain't going to know nothing about it anyway. You guys be able to talk all the shit you want to, but I went in with a very positive attitude. I want to be able to see that.
Now, when they do a heart transplant, have you talked to anybody that's had a heart transplant?
Yes, I have.
Yeah?
Yeah, and you know, those are the people that I really, really want to hear from.
Yeah.
Because they can, and I appreciate it. I get a shit ton of well wishes and support, and I think from iron addicts all across the planet. I mean, they're all behind me, and I really, really appreciate it. But it's easy for me to say, hey, Joe, be tough. I know you're going through this thing, Joe, but I want you to be tough. I want you to hang tough, and I want you to, I'm rooting. But have I actually gone through, when I'm asked the circumstance that you're facing, the difficulty that you're facing right now, have I actually had any experience with that? Because it's hard for me to listen to you to tell me to, be strong and be tough about getting a heart transplant, and you ain't never had nothing but a fucking hangnail or something like.
Right.
I mean, if you've actually been through something, then I can listen to you a lot better. It's like a fighter, a guy who's never been in a fight, trying to tell a fighter what to do in his next cage fight. Hey, you get in there, I want you to put this on, and
right.
That fight, I'm not going to be listening too hard to a motherfucker that don't have no experience.
Right.
Experience is, to me, still the best teacher.
Especially something like a heart transplant.
Yeah, man.
I mean, what percentage of people have ever even had? I mean, how many people have successful heart transplants a year? Do you know?
You know, I've tried to look it up, but they don't give you too many numbers on I think that the survival rate is 75 for the first. No, I think it's higher, 80% for the first year now. It was lower, years ago, but now it's up to 80% survive for the first year. And
you have to take some pretty intense drugs just to keep your body from rejecting the organ, right?
Definitely, but I'm taking a shitload of drugs right now, Joe.
What do you have to take now?
I got 15 different drugs that I take every day just to survive.
And what are they all for?
To kick water off my lungs, to lower my blood pressure, kidney, all kind of fucking different pills, Joe. And just they supposedly help me function, and sometimes I honestly think they fuck me up. Some of them fuck me up. It's hard for me to, function properly on a daily basis. Just a day of feeling normal. If I can feel normal for the whole day, oh, that's fantastic, man. Not good or, great. I feel great today. Right? There's no such thing as me getting up saying I had a fucking great day today. But if I can just feel normal for that day, then that's fantastic, man.
And this is since June.
Yeah.
So before June, you were fine, even with the artificial heart valve?
I wouldn't say I was, yes, for 11 and a half of those years, but 6 months prior to the heart attack, I had signs.
So you started feeling it coming?
Yeah, I had signs.
Do you do any cardio, or were you doing any cardio before?
Not really. I can, the way I work out is kind of cardio. You be sweating. Yeah. Big puddle of sweat on the floor. Like Cali Muscle, I remember I put him through a workout. I trained a lot of pro wrestlers and stuff, too. When I put them through the workout, and Cali Muscle had the best, he said, gee willikers. That was the best one. He said, damn, CT, you're fucking crazy, man. But that was the best.
Gee willikers.
Yeah, gee willikers.
Bringing it back.
Yeah, that's bringing it way back.
That's like Andy Griffin's show.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Cali was on Fear Factor.
Yeah, was he?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
How'd he do?
He fell off of a car.
Oh, wow.
Didn't work. They had him suspended over it was like suspended. See if you can find that. It was giant.
Wow.
Too big.
Yeah.
Dude was giant. It was one of those stunts where you had to carry your own weight, like climbing over things.
Oh, shit.
He's like close to 300 fucking pounds.
Yeah.
So he's doing that. It was the wrong stunt for him.
Yeah, I bet it was. But I adopted that guy. He's my son. He's
got an interesting story himself.
Oh my God, he's got a hell of a story.
I saw his YouTube story.
Yeah, hell of a story, man. He's real good. And the good thing about him, he's the same way on and off YouTube.
Yeah, he was a very friendly guy when I met him. I enjoyed talking to him a lot. He's jacked as fuck.
Oh yeah, definitely. Cali Muscle was jacked. Yeah. I've interviewed, one of my favorite interviews was Horace Gracie.
Really?
Yeah, I got to interview Horace Gracie, and it was incredibly, we had some incredible similarities in our train of thought and how we think.
Yeah?
He told me that on the day of a fight, he made no plans for after the fight. No plans. No, we're going out to dinner, we're going to celebrate, none of that. He said, I was completely 100% prepared to die in that octagon. And I'm like, fuck yeah. Oh, God damn. That resonated with me so hard because I remember my last contest, because, they told me about my heart valve in the 90s, in 95, at my last contest, greatest bench press in America. They say, Mr. Fletcher, you can go out there and in front of all those people, and your valve could burst, and you could die right there on the bench press in front of all those people. Are you going to go? And I looked at him and I said, fuck yeah, I'm going. My doctor looked at me like I'm crazy. I'm looking at him like he crazy. Fuck yes, I'm going. Hell yeah, are you out of your mind? What a glorious way. What a glorious way to go out. Doing what I fucking love to do, what I trained to do my whole fucking life in front of all these people. Oh, man, I couldn't ask. If I was writing a movie script, it couldn't be any better.
Wow.
Fucking died right there on stage in front of every fucking body, bench press. So I felt the same way. I felt the same way that Horace Gracie, and it just really made me feel good that I wasn't the only crazy motherfucker on the planet.
He's definitely crazy. He's the most important figure in the history of martial arts.
I think so.
His UFC 1 in 1993 changed the world.
Yeah.
Changed the world. Because people thought that you had to be like the bigger guy. And then all of a sudden he showed that no, there's this thing called Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and this dude coming out wearing pajamas is just going to fuck all you people up.
Yep, he sure did.
Changed the world of martial arts. Everybody started training Jiu-Jitsu.
Oh, my God.
I didn't even know what it was. I had no idea what it was.
No idea.
Yeah, as soon as it came out, I was like, I'm enrolled. I went to Carlson Gracie's. I went to Hickson Gracie's first, then to Carlson Gracie's. Yeah.
And I think that is why I'm finna blow some smoke up your butt there, Joe. I think that's why you're such a fantastic analyst. I think that's why you're the best at what you do, because you get your ass in there and you actually experience it. And when you say a hold or you see a omoplata or whatever, you know what the fuck you're talking about. And
I think that helps, but I think I'm very, very fortunate that I have a series of jobs that help each other.
Yeah.
And that, like, being a comedian and being able to talk on stage in front of all those people, I'm comfortable. Like, I'm comfortable in front of a microphone doing a podcast. I'm comfortable, and I love MMA. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of martial arts. So it's my chance to express myself about something that I really enjoy, and I don't feel burdened down by the moment of like the camera on me.
Right. Which is harder.
It helps me.
Which is harder.
Yeah.
The performing in front of a live audience and you're being a comedian or what you do for the UFC.
Oh, UFC is way, way easier. Way easier. It's very, very. I wouldn't say it's easy because you have to understand what you're talking about. You have to have a lot of information in your head, and you have to really care. Like it's my job just to represent the experience that these guys are going through. When I think about commentary, I'm thinking about these guys been through months of training camp. They've dieted. They've cut weight to get down to their weight class. They're rehydrated. There's so much emotions and intensity. It's just my job to honor their experience and to do my best to make it fun for the fans at home and make it dramatic. That's all my job. They have the hard job. My job is just to not fuck up and to try to describe it in the best way that I can. It's way easier than stand-up.
The live art, oh, shit, I know. I'm just being, well, I can imagine. I'm going around the world giving speeches and seminars in front of live audiences. It's much easier for me. And this is a big ass thing, but it's much easier for me to sit across the table from Joe Rogan and talk to him than it is to do those people, shooting all kind of questions at me and shit.
Yeah, it's odd, right? It's gonna be odd for you to experience this late in life too.
Oh man, if I was 21, I couldn't do it. If I had to sit across the table from Joe Rogan at 21 years old, I'd be too fucking petrified to do it.
You think you would? But once we started talking, I think you would loosen up and then you'd be yourself.
I'd be choked up.
For a while, maybe.
I'd be too fucking sure. I'd be tie-tongued. I wouldn't be able to talk.
Once, it's just people relax.
No, I don't think so. I was too wound up emotionally as a 21-year.
Who isn't?
Oh man,
I could imagine. Like I was talking with a buddy of mine because I started stand-up at 21, and I was like, "What the fuck did I have to talk about when I was 21? I didn't know shit."
Wow.
You literally don't know anything.
You had been doing it that long.
Yeah, I started at 21.
Wow.
I didn't know a fucking thing.
So what are you now, 35?
50.
What?
I'm 50.
You're fucking 50?
Yeah, I'm 50.
You old bastard. This guy's fucking 50 years old.
Yeah. I started in August 27th, 1988.
Wow. You look good for 50
Thank you,
years
sir.
old.
Thank you very much, man.
I dyed my beard for the Joe Rogan show.
It looks good.
It's fucking black as fuck, man.
What's it like when you don't dye it?
It's white as fuck.
Is it?
Yeah,
100%
I'm giving Santa Claus a run for his fucking money, man.
You look good with a black beard, though.
Yeah, I had to make that motherfucker
blacken that shit up. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, I know I do. I know Just For Men better start paying me for this fucking shit, man. I've been advertising for them fuckers for years.
They should.
Yeah.
Why not? Get in there with that comb, right?
Hell yeah.
Get in there, work it out.
Making that shit black.
So how often do you do your YouTube videos now?
We release a new one every Saturday, and they have changed so much. Last week I had a cooking show.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, a vegan cooking show.
Oh, yeah, you're doing all a vegan diet now, huh?
Well, you know what? I can't call myself vegan. I call myself plant-based. I started out saying I was vegan, and then I realized how crazy them vegan folks is, and I said, you know, I'm not vegan because I'm not doing it because I'm thinking about the animals. And, you know, vegan will fuck your ass up about that shit. They super serious about that. I'm not doing it because of that. I'm doing it for health.
There's a lot of people that are vegan for the right reasons. They're vegan because they're conscientious, because they want to do it for health, because they want to have the least amount of impact on the environment, because they don't want animals to die. But then there's a lot of people that are vegan that really just belong to something. They could have been in Scientology. They could have been a Mooney. They could have been anything. They found that and they ran with it, and now they are fucking ruthless against people that aren't in that group. And they generally give like good-hearted, kind-hearted vegans a bad name. And it's a small percentage. But a lot of these motherfuckers, they have like vegan in their online name, and they're, you know, and they attack. Like you look at their comments, they're all attacking all these other people like constantly. Yeah, they're just angry people that found a reason to be an aggressive person. Like you found a green light. Oh, this person's not vegan. I can attack them, and you're the reason why you're responsible for all the pollution and all the crime. Did you know that if you were vegan, that this would be less suffering and this would be?
My God.
Yeah, and they do the worst job of promoting veganism because people see those crazy assholes and then they go, fuck these people. I'm going to go eat a steak just for you, bitch. I'm going to shoot this fucking cow right in the dick and I'm going to eat him right in front of you. Fuck you, man.
Well, I didn't want to be associated with them, that radical part of it at all. So I stopped saying I'm vegan. I just don't eat meat.
I would like to get you connected to some real nutrition experts that could break down why that might not be the best idea and what is important in your diet in terms of like essential fatty acids and healthy fats, in terms of like a lot of people think that refined carbohydrates are the big problem with heart disease. Refined carbohydrates and sugar is what contributes to heart disease. Do you know the whole thing that came out pretty recently in the New York Times, did an expose about the sugar industry having paid off scientists in the 1950s to put the blame on saturated fats and cholesterol instead of sugar? And that is a complete, total fabricated conspiracy by the sugar industry, because they were doing these tests and they were realizing like, holy shit, like sugar fucks people up. It's terrible for you. And so what they did is they literally bribed scientists, and not that much money, which is kind of crazy. In the 1950s, they paid them something around $50,000. And I don't even know if it's $50,000 today. I think it was the equivalent of $50,000.
Oh, wow.
And these people just fabricated these reports and got everybody convinced that saturated fat, which is an essential part of the human diet, and cholesterol, which is literally the substrate for hormone production. Like cholesterol is important for your body.
Right.
And that these things are responsible for heart disease and not sugar.
Wow.
But refined sugar and refined carbohydrates, they're completely unnatural in the human body. You're not supposed to be able to just scoop up a fucking tablespoonful of sugar and dump it in your mouth. It's not real in the world. Like if you get sugar in the world, it's attached to an apple. You know, if you get carbohydrates, it's in plants. It's fiber. You're eating, and your body knows how to process that. Your body doesn't know what the fuck to do with bread, especially the bread that we eat today. Sprayed down with fucking all sorts of shit to prevent all these pesticides, and they changed the wheat and made it more complex gluten, so your body has a harder time processing it. There's a lot of bad food that
it's safe to say you're not a vegan.
No, I'm not a vegan. But I respect the people that are doing it because they're doing it because they don't want to cause harm. And I respect the people that are doing it that think they're doing it for their health. But I've talked to a lot of vegans that were formerly vegans, especially Chris Kresser, who is an actual scientist and is one of the leading experts on the real issue with the vegan diet and how it does work for some people. Some people with their biological requirements and their physical requirements in terms of like what their activity is, they function fine on a vegan diet. As long as they're careful, they make sure they get enough B12, they make sure they get their fatty acids, make sure they get their essential fatty acids from coconuts and flaxseed oil and all. There's avocado. There's a lot of different ways you can get oils for your body, but your body needs that shit. It's essential. There's like a lot of essential things. I would love to connect you with these guys.
And I'm open to it. I'm very open to it. I changed my outlook. You know, after this last heart attack, I changed my outlook completely, and that's what made me even try the plant-based diet. You know, I have a supplement company that's Iron Addicts brand. It's a hardcore. It's billed as for the hardest core motherfuckers on the planet.
What kind of shit?
Yeah, you know, pre-workouts and pumps and stuff. But after that, I started another brand, Odyssey Nutriceuticals. It's completely different. I named it Odyssey because that's what I consider my life is an odyssey, a bunch of different. I got one hell of an odyssey going on. But anyway, it's plant-based protein. You know, it's very health conscientious. A very health conscientious.
I'm a fan of plant-based protein. I think pea protein's really good. I love hemp protein. That's my favorite. I think hemp protein is very easy for your body to digest. The real problem with a lot of plant proteins is, I mean, if you just eat just plants, especially eating whole foods, your body's not breaking it down the same way your body would break down a steak, say, or a piece of grass-fed beef.
Well, I'm going to send you a sample of my shit, Joe.
I would love to get it.
And you tell me what you think. And Odyssey Nutriceuticals, I had to get that in on the air before Joe kicked me the fuck off.
What is the website? Do you have a website for it?
OdysseyNutriceuticals.com, man.
All right.
You go check it out. Got to get that shit in before you kick me off the air.
I'm not kicking you off yet. You know, when we were going back and forth, I remember one of the questions that I had to ask you. I said, what is ISYMFS? What the fuck is that? Because it's on the end of your thing all the time. And when you told me, I was laughing out loud in front of my computer. Yeah. It's still your motherfucking set.
That's exactly what it stands for, Joe. And
I love that.
If you, it's really based on my mom. Well, my mom was the reason why I'm not completely retarded. I mean, I think I'm semi-retarded, but I'm not complete. Oh, retarded that's not I shouldn't say that.
I still allow it.
Okay, thank you, Joe.
It doesn't mean a disease.
Right.
It means a dummy.
Yeah, I'm not completely, retarded because
I'm a
of my
believer
mom.
in intent. I think your words should just be noises that you make that convey intent. I don't think there should be magic noises that you can't say.
Ooh, God damn it, Joe. Ooh, that was deep. You said a lot.
I think people are too sensitive, and then on top of it, people are looking to tell you to not say certain words. Like, don't say that the R word is the wrong word now. It's problematic today.
Oh, my God. Oh, yeah. So it came from my mom. My mom was, I tell you, her and all her siblings died from a heart-related problem. So she was sick most of her adult life. That's where I remember mostly. I remember very early when I was very young, my mom being healthy. But she was sick most of her adult life. Most of my memories of my mom when she was sick. But every day, and I mean she was really sick, in and out of emergency rooms and stuff. If you ask my mom, hey, Mrs. Fletcher, how are you? She would say, I'm blessed. Her standard answer was always, I'm blessed. Yeah, and the reason she told me, the reason why she would say that is because I'm still alive. I'm not dead, so if I'm still alive, I still have life. I still can go on. I still can make a change. I still can make a difference. So I got it from her. No matter what the situation, how bad it may seem, how people complain about that, you're still alive, motherfucker. So your set is your life, and you're still alive. You still have a chance to make a difference. You're still going. What's the worst thing that can happen? I could die. Okay, well if you ain't dead, motherfucker, keep going. If you ain't dead, it's still your set, motherfucker.
So simple.
Going. Yeah. So yeah, she was blessed, and that's why I always, people, how you doing, CT? I'm blessed. No matter what the fuck's going on. I'm still alive, so I'm blessed.
That's awesome. Yeah. That people need to hear that. They do need to hear that, and they need to hear your attitude about excuses, because both of those things are very important. It's very important for people to process, because a lot of people have like bad patterns in their mind. And these bad patterns are just the way they've interacted with the world, the way they've approached all sorts of different problems. They have these patterns, and they fall right into these patterns. And maybe they learn these patterns from their family. Maybe they learn these patterns from their environment. Maybe these patterns are like defense mechanisms to keep them from challenging themselves. But you got to recognize what those are. It's not you. Like, you're not a lazy fuck, but you've been behaving like a lazy fuck.
Yeah.
What you are is a human.
Right.
And you could be anything. You could just decide to. You know the story of David Goggins?
David Goggins. Damn, that sounds familiar.
Navy SEAL, endurance athlete.
Yeah. I just recently looked him up.
He was super fat, fully out of shape, like literally like on death's door health-wise.
So he got picked on in school and stuff like that.
Got fucked with, but decided.
Yep.
enough is enough. Just literally in his own mind decided he was going to win the world record for chin-ups. Did it. Decided he was going to be like this incredible endurance athlete. Did it. Just does it. Just forces his mind. And he has this thing that he says that I think about whenever I'm tired. He said most people quit at 40%.
Wow.
Most
I believe
people quit.
that.
I believe that too.
Yeah,
I believe that too.
That, yeah.
Most people get a little tired and like, oh, fuck this.
Yeah.
You know, but you couldn't go further. You can go further. Yeah.
Man, yeah, I just recently read on it. I watched a video of him. Somebody sent it to me.
He's a savage.
He
just
is,
a straight
man.
mental savage.
Oh, I love it. Yeah,
I love those guys. Those people are important. You got to know that those people are out there. And him in particular, he's really important because he was super out of shape.
Yeah.
It's not like he was always this ripped super athlete. Like he was like fat and terrible diet and poor health and poor depression, the whole deal.
Yeah.
And just tightened it up, and now he's an animal. Now you can't fuck with him.
I mean, he fucking decided
to. Decided to.
Yeah,
that's right. And anybody can do that. All the people out there that think they're lazy, no. You've been behaving like a lazy person. You've been following lazy patterns. If you just decide tomorrow, first of all, if you decide tomorrow you're going to be a disciplined, focused person, don't expect to have the kind of energy that someone who's been disciplined and focused for years has, because you're not going to.
That's right.
You're not going. Your body's not going to be conditioned for it. Your mind's not going to be accustomed to the strain, but you can still do it.
Right.
You're just going to get tired quicker, and then hopefully by next week you'll have more endurance, and then by the week after that you'll have more. And if you keep building, 6 months from now you'll be unrecognizable.
That's right. If you stick with it, you definitely will. But everything's got to start from right there.
That's why you're important. That's why you're important. That's why your videos are so important, because your videos, I guarantee it. I don't know the number, but I want to say 100,000 people probably watch your videos and change their life. I guarantee you. That's real.
I don't know the number. It's a lot more than I thought it was.
It's a lot.
That's for sure.
I bet you've changed people's entire outlook on things.
That's for sure.
Giant. That's everything in this life. There's because you can get information. Books are wonderful. Documentaries are wonderful. What's really great is inspiration. The fuel, the little push, just a little push, just to get you moving. Sometimes that's all it needs.
Man.
And then next thing you know it, people like you, because you've had a lifetime of this discipline and dedication and obsession, that reinforces it in people's heads. Like, I want to do what CT does. I want to be like that. I want to have that kind of energy and focus.
Joe Rogan, have you ever thought about getting in the octagon yourself? I want to ask you that.
I'm too old now. I almost did at one point in time, but not at this point, no. You know what?
Earlier.
Yeah. Well, when I was kickboxing, man, I got a lot of fucking headaches. And I was really worried. I came from a real meathead gym, and we did, like, hard sparring. And I did a lot of hard sparring. There's one kid in particular who was a really good boxer, and we beat the fuck out of each other.
Oh.
And the problem is, like, I would go home, and, you know, this was going on over a few years. I would go home, and my head would be pounding, just boom, 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 lying in bed. And I was thinking, what am I doing to myself? Am I going to be stupid when I get older? Am I going to not know where I am? Am I going to be stumbling on my words? I was terrified of brain damage.
Yeah.
Because I've always been a very curious person, and I've always been fascinated by the way you can change the way you think about things, and by being, that's why I'm so excited about talking to you, like inspiration and motivation and even information, like having these things in your mind, you can forge these things together to make your mind go in a certain direction. So the quality of my thoughts has always been very, very important to me, because I know that that's what made me successful in all the different areas that I've chosen to pursue. It's like the quality of your thinking and being able to recognize what's good and what's bad. But the mind itself, if the mind itself is compromised, then you're not going to be able to do all those things that you want to do.
For sure.
You're not going to be able to appreciate life if you don't remember where you are and you don't know how to talk anymore. And I was around people that I was watching their ability to talk and their cognitive function decay. So fighting it's glorious, but you got to know when to stop. You got to know when to stop. And for me, when I stopped is 1989. There was no UFC. There was no money. There was no money in kickboxing. Like, I think I got offered a fight for $500, and that was I was doing amateur fights, and I got offered a pro fight for, like, it might have been $400. I don't remember how much it was, but I was like, what?
Yeah.
I was like, that's crazy. Like, I'm gonna train for months and maybe get my ass kicked and maybe get head kicked for like $400.
Yeah.
And I was getting these headaches. The headaches were bad, man. And so I just decided early on, if the UFC was around back then, I'm most certain I would have pursued it. But I'm glad it wasn't.
You did whoop a fan's ass one time, didn't you, though, Joe?
A fan?
Well, not a fan, a guy talking shit.
Oh, the guy on Fear Factor? No, I just grabbed him. I thought he was going to hit me. I didn't hurt him.
No?
No, he's
Joe,
just
I thought
crazy.
I seen you.
I just tied him up. I got him in a Muay Thai clinch. I was thinking of choking him, but I was like, I better not choke him. Because if I choke him, you know, maybe they could sue me. So I just decided if I grab a hold of him and grab him by the back of the head, he'll probably realize once I lock onto him that he's pretty helpless. Yeah. And he'll probably stop. And he kind of did. He kind of just flailed around a little bit. But he's like, when someone grabs your neck, there's something about controlling someone's neck. It does not feel good.
No, fuck no. You feel powerless.
Yeah, that was a guy that he had attacked a counselor before on another television show, and he'd thrown his girlfriend to the ground or his wife on another television show.
God.
And they had told me about him before he did the show. They're like, this guy's a serious hothead. We were thinking about not having him on the show at all, but we thought it'd be good drama, but be careful. And so he punched some guy, or she punched some guy on the show. And I said the wife punched a guy who was heckling him. And I said, you can't hit someone. I go, just because you hit your husband doesn't mean you can hit other people. And then the guy got in my face. And there's a lot of it that wasn't on film that they didn't put on TV. But I pushed him out of my face. He goes, don't touch me. And I said, or what, bitch? Like, what the fuck are you going to do? And he got in my face again. And I pushed him again. And then I said, this is just too tense. I go, I'm just going to grab this guy. I'm like, I'm not getting punched in the face, because sucker punches happen.
Yeah.
And especially if you're not ready to get punched and you get punched, you can get fucked up.
Oh, hell yeah.
Especially if you don't think someone's going to punch you and then they do, you know? So I'm always thinking when someone raises their voice, they're ready to punch me. So
right.
I'm just going to clamp down this dude's neck, get a hold of him. So I just grabbed him. I didn't hurt him.
Yeah, that made me I always liked Joe, but I was a fucking Joe Rogan fan after that.
He called the police on me, though. The police had to go over he claimed I hit him. He claimed a bunch of shit. The police had to go over the videotape. They had to show all the footage from all the different cameras. Yeah.
Wow.
See, I never really hit him.
I was a fucking real Joe Rogan fan after that, man. Fuck yeah. Yeah, you have guys challenge you to fight over the social media?
No.
No?
I mean, idiots maybe.
Yeah,
I'm friendly.
I know, but
if people
there's
meet
idiots.
me, if in real life when people meet me, I'm always friendly.
Yeah, but I understand. There's so many idiots on social media. I know
there's a lot of idiots.
Got to have somebody. Oh, Joe, I'll kick your ass.
Well, the idiots are the reason why I never was getting your information in the first place when you're reaching out to me, because I'm not paying attention to anything.
Right.
If I dip my toes in the water occasionally, I'm like, see what the fuck's going on in the world. Like, fuck.
Yeah, that's enough of that.
Fuck out of here. Yeah, I've seen too many people. It starts their day off in a bad way, and they get obsessed with it, and they start battling back and forth with people in the comments.
Guilty. Guilty as a motherfucker. I mean,
I saw you doing that after you and I had the discussion. You were going back and forth with people.
Shit. Oh, so Joe Rogan has got some fucking fans, man. They wanted to fucking string my ass up, boy. How dare you talk to Joe like that? I said, motherfucker, this between me and Joe. The fuck you got?
People want to jump in.
Yeah, they wanted to kill me and fucking assassinate me.
Well, they want to make you feel bad. That's what they really want to do. They want to figure out a way they can point out that you're wrong or make you feel stupid. Or it's almost all of it. Almost all of it is unhealthy people, unhappy.
Right.
And, maybe not bad people who are doing this, but it's an unhealthy practice to just lash out. There's not even people that are really in your life.
Yeah,
it's one thing to have
a
debate about things, and I think this is where we as human beings have to learn how to use social media better, because there's nothing wrong with having discussions about things, but you got to figure out a way to do it where you're not just trying to hurt someone's feelings all the time and lashing out, because that's what a lot of it is. It's just bitter, very small-minded squabbling. Even if you're using big words, the intent behind it is very small-minded.
Exactly. People send me videos of them working out all the time. And, some of them are not doing it correctly.
Right.
But I don't criticize people. I never, because the most important thing to me is that they're trying. They're actually in there trying. They're trying to do something. But, man, other people don't look at it like that. Oh, you're fucked up. You're doing that fucking wrong. You're fucking, why you don't know what the fuck you do. They jump on them immediately, that, and try to discourage them, people that are at least trying to do something. They'll try to discourage them, and it's so many fucking experts out there. Oh, you're not doing this correctly. Your form is fucked up.
Yeah.
Like, man, why do that? I mean, if you really want to do that, then direct message the people.
Right,
if you're really trying to help them, direct message. Why put it out there so everybody can see it? You're just trying to draw attention to yourself.
There's a lot of that, right?
Yeah, it's a lot of it. They just want people to look at me. I'm an expert. I know what the fuck I'm doing. Fuck them guys. I don't like them.
Yeah, and what's interesting too about exercises is there's some things that are debatable in terms of the way to do it and way not to do it. There's not necessarily always a consensus about how someone's doing something right, whether it's there's just a lot of people online that are just making a lot of noise.
Yeah.
It's hard to figure out who's right and who's wrong.
Yeah, well, I think it's only right and wrong for you. I mean, you try. If Joe Rogan tells me I have to do something a certain way and I try it and it works for me, then I'm going to do it.
Right.
If it works for me, because we all are so goddamn different. It's not even funny. Nobody's exactly the same.
Yeah.
So when somebody says if somebody says they got the perfect routine that's going to work for every fucking body, then that guy you got to be leery of. He's full of shit.
Yeah.
Because nobody has one routine that's going to work for every fucking body. It's just impossible. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, I agree. And I think especially it's really interesting with MMA because the fact that Royce Gracie burst onto the scene in 1993, that was not that long ago.
Right.
I mean, that's really 24 years is not a lot of time. It's just too similar or it's too close. And so there's all these different methods that have been sort of devised along the way. And nobody really, I mean, until someone comes along, they're really, someone's like an Anderson Silva that's like super successful doing it one way. And then you go, well, how the fuck's he doing it? We got to do it his way. Yeah, but you're not him.
Right.
Like maybe you started out as a wrestler, whereas he's a Muay Thai guy. Maybe it works good for him, but maybe you need a different approach. And nobody really knows how to do it for you. You have to kind of figure out your own way.
Exactly.
And you got to hone it and tweak it along the way while you're competing. So it's hard.
Yeah. Well, the real innovators or the real guys that I'm sure that they did that. They're not trying to copy.
Yeah.
It's so important to be an original. At damn near anything. I mean, if you're set out to try to be Joe Rogan, you're going to fail, motherfucker, because it ain't but one Joe Rogan. And so try, I tell these guys all the time, hey, CT, I want to be just like you. Don't be just like me, motherfucker. Be your damn self.
Yeah.
Be yourself, man. Don't try to be just like Joe Rogan. Be yourself, because you can't be Joe Rogan.
It's hard to tell people that, though. If you see someone who inspires you and you admire them and you want to do what they're doing, it's hard. But everybody starts out in the beginning, like especially when you're a young person, when you admire someone, you kind of copy a lot of their mannerisms and the way they do it. But eventually, you got to find yourself.
Oh yeah, definitely. I used to go around. I float like a butterfly, like Muhammad Ali. I was Muhammad Ali when I was a kid, man. I wanted to be him, and then I wanted to be Bruce Lee. And
sure.
I got into fucking point karate, tournament.
Oh, were you doing that?
Yeah, Joe Rogan. You didn't know that.
No, I didn't know.
I was a point fighter, and I came very close. Goddamn Tybo.
Billy Blanks.
Billy Blanks came very close to fighting Billy Blanks in the Long Beach arena. Ed Parker's Kempo Karate put on the International Karate Championship every year. And I was very close to fighting Billy Blanks. And I every time I see Billy now, I say, Billy, I thank you so much. Because the guy, when I see in the finals, Billy fucked that guy up. It was supposed to be point, and he knocked the motherfucker out.
Well, Billy, fought even in point. Like, they would hit each other hard.
Oh, hell yeah.
Like Billy was knocked out before, too, in point karate tournaments. People got knocked out in those tournaments.
Man, they should, I know.
And they made them fight after they got knocked out. Nobody knew any better back then.
Bring yourself back, revive yourself and keep fighting, man.
Yeah.
It was pretty good. I love martial, but my favorite sport, I think, bar none of all, not over weightlifting. And MMA is getting really close. It was really close, but I think it's boxing.
You love boxing more?
Oh, yeah. I love it, man. I love.
Who's your favorite fighter? Do you have a favorite?
Ooh, man. Ooh. That's really hard. As a role model, I guess Muhammad Ali would be my favorite as a role model, but not because of what he did in the ring. It's more so because of what he did outside the ring is why I hold him in such high regard. But Roy Jones Jr., of course, Mike Tyson. But Roy Jones, oh my God.
In his prime, there was nobody like Roy. Roy was on a completely different level. He wasn't even jabbing. He was leaping in with a left hook.
Yeah. And he was muscular too.
Oh,
Joe.
yeah. Well, and he was weird shaped too.
Yeah.
Like his biceps were giant,
Jacked.
but he had small triceps.
Yeah, his biceps were jacked, man. He
went all the way up to heavyweight. Remember that?
And won.
Yeah, beat John Ruiz for the heavyweight title.
Do I remember? You don't want to talk about boxing, Joe. Man. I'm a fucking boxing guy, too. Man. Really.
Well, I'm a fan of boxing too. You know, even though I work
MMA
for
is your
UFC.
number one, though, right?
Yeah. Well, I like MMA better because anything can happen. You can get head kicked, you get kicked down, strangled. There's so many possibilities that it's more complicated. What I call MMA, I call it high-level problem solving with dire physical consequences.
Ooh.
That's what it is.
Excellent explanation.
Yeah, because you got all these tools, you have all these tools, he has all these tools, you go in there and you try to figure out who's got the best approach and who's going to be able to use their body, who's going to be able to use their talent, their skill, their dedication, who's going to be able to figure out a way to solve your problem.
Wow. What do you think about Nate Diaz?
He's a bad motherfucker.
I love fucking Nate
love
Diaz,
Nate Diaz,
man. I met him at a fight, a UFC fight, and he was the humblest. He was so nice, man. He goes, I'm not fucking jacked like you, but I do my thing. And I'm like, fucking, you're a fucking killer, man.
Yeah, he's a great guy, but he's another guy who's a perfect example of how you can't make everyone train the same way. He's incredibly successful, but a lot of his training is not weightlifting. He does triathlons.
Yeah.
He does his jiu-jitsu and his kickboxing and all the other stuff, but on top of that, like, he does crazy endurance work.
Yeah, and Nick and I love both them brothers, man. And I met King Mo. He was real cool. I mean, a lot of guys at fights. The most famous referee,
Big John McCarthy?
Big John McCarthy. Excellent guy. He was really friendly.
He's a very good guy.
I'm trying to think. I couldn't really figure out why these guys like me so much. George St Pierre, he said, I want you to make a special video for me before one of his big fights. So I'm spitting all over the mic and shit, and I'm making him fucking hardcore. And then he made a video back for me. And I had his fucking George St Pierre had his fucking phone number, man. He calls me and says, CT, can you do a one-arm pull-up? I said, no, I can't do one. He said, I can't either. Let's see who could be the first one to do a one-arm pull-up. I said, your own, George.
Wow.
Yeah. And I'm like, I don't know. I couldn't really understand why fighters like me so much. I couldn't understand why they like me so. Because
fighters need motivation.
Man, I guess
that's what it is. Yeah, that's a big part of it. Well, because you're real, you're 100% real. You are who you are. You don't put on any false airs. But also, inspiration is critical for fighters because they're always tired. They're always trying to find the energy to keep going. They're always trying to find that push to get up and keep going when you are 2 months into camp and every day is a grind and you're just exhausted.
Man.
And it's repetitive. You're constantly drilling, constantly sparring, strength and conditioning, you're swimming, you're running, you're doing this, you're doing that. And then the impending moment of that fight is constantly looming in the background of your life. There's no escape from it. And sometimes you need like a CT Fletcher video to get you over the hump.
Wow, I guess. I mean, because I have the utmost respect for fighters, boxers and MMA guys especially. I mean, anybody I'm going. The guy who gets knocked out every time he steps in, I respect the fuck out of him because he had the testicular fortitude to step through the fucking gate, man, and get in there and actually do. Do you know? Joe, I know you know, but people don't understand how much it takes to just take that trip down and actually get in that cage and face another man who's trying to take your fucking head off.
Yeah.
Trying to knock. That takes a tremendous. I remember how much it took fighting at the Long Beach Arena and just the crowd there. And I know it's nothing compared to MMA crowds. And to have people, that crowd makes a big fucking difference,
Oh,
Joe.
yeah.
It makes I got so fucking nervous. Everything that I had learned, I fucking forgot. As soon as that guy kicked me upside the head, I forgot every kata, all that shit went right out the window, and I tried to kill him. Man, I forgot everything. I went straight to Compton, man.
Yeah.
I forgot all my katas and everything, man. It takes a tremendous, and that's why I respect the guy so much, because I have an inkling of an idea. I don't have a real idea because I ain't never done this shit, but I have an inkling of an idea of what it takes to actually get in that octagon and before all those thousands of people, and when the millions of people watching on TV, and perform. Oh,
and rise to the occasion.
Yeah, rise to that fucking occasion.
Yeah, some guys actually literally fight better than they train.
Yeah.
They're better inside the cage. I mean, there's the rare human being that when the chips are down, when it's difficult, when the situation is intense pressure, they shine. Wow. They're at their best.
Do you have a problem? Do you think you would have a problem in your youth if you got a guy in trouble to pound on that guy?
It's hard if you've been hurt before and you know what you're doing to the guy. You know, I think a lot of guys get very upset when a referee doesn't stop the fight in time, and I think for good reason. Like, they'll look at the referee and go, what the fuck? Like, how many times do you want me to hit this dude? Like,
yeah.
He's barely defending himself. You know, obviously, he's out. But, you know, in the moment, the heat of the battle, and you catch someone and you're smashing them, you know, it's like, I think it also depends on how you feel about that person. Like the recent fight between T.J. Dillashaw and Cody Garbrandt. They had this intense feud, and then finally T.J. catches him, hurts him, drops him, and then puts him out. And you can tell when he's smashing him, when he's out, you know, he's not thinking good things about him.
He's not thinking about letting off the gas.
No, he's trying to kill him. And then when Cody got up and he was just still dazed, and T.J.'s in his face, screaming in his face, like. There's nothing like fighting. It's like
no, it's nothing like.
It's not like any other sport.
I talked to a UFC fighter. I'm not going to mention his name because I think I don't know if he wants me to or not, so I'm not going to do it. But he told me that he goes into some fights, not all of them, having a real fear of hurting his opponent. And I think it's really hard to do your absolute best when you have that fear of doing real damage to your opponent. I think
it's one more element. Yeah.
I think this guy. I think he would be a champion if he completely get rid of that. It's very hard. But when you're going in the ring, hoping, it's your job,
right,
to stop this guy, to stop your opponent. And if you're going in hoping that you don't hurt him, then I don't think you can perform to your utmost capabilities if that's really foremost in your mind. I don't want to hurt this guy.
Yeah, I think fighters only have a certain amount of time they can compete as well before the overwhelming reality of what they're doing sets in. I mean, in the beginning, when they're 19, 20, 21, they're just fucking full of piss and vinegar and shit and lightning and kicking people in the head and just every day it's just chaos. And then as time goes on, you deal with your own injuries. You start to see people just suffer the repercussions of a career in combat sports, and then as you get older, you just realize like what this is really that you're doing.
You think Rumble Johnson was really smart?
I think Rumble is the scariest fucking guy at 205 pounds, terrifying, right? And then decides after a world title fight, like I don't want to do this. Fuck this. I don't want to hug dudes, get hit in the head. He goes, I'm not really a fighter. He goes, I was a really good athlete. I'm just real good at it. Take it easy, everybody.
Man, I talked to on social media back and forth with Ron. Really cool kid.
Very
really
good guy.
Cool. And I respect the fuck out of his decision, man. I respect
But he's talked about coming back now.
Well, I mean, I'm sure that someone is going to make him an offer that he can't refuse.
He's very marketable, I'll tell you that. A guy who can do what he can do to people.
Destroy people, man. Just fucking destroy them.
He's a good example also of someone who cut weight when they shouldn't have.
Yeah.
Like, I hate weight cutting. I think it's the worst thing that fighters do to themselves. I think it's even worse than fighting.
Wow.
I think there's guys that get organ failure. A woman just died in Australia who was cutting weight for an amateur kickboxing fight.
Oh, my God.
It's just a terrible, terrible practice that people do. But he was one of the biggest weight cutters ever. He was like well over 200 pounds, getting down to 170. And when he was at 170, he was smashing people.
Yeah.
But as long as it was quick. Because he had dehydrated himself so bad that when he get into the third, fourth, and fifth round, he just had nothing left. He just was so drained. At heavyweight, he will be fucking terrifying.
Oh,
terrifying.
Man.
Terrifying.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If he really wants to do it. Maybe he just needed a break. I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
Sometimes guys just need to take some time off.
I think
chill.
somebody's going to offer him because he's very marketable.
I think he's in the weed business now.
Yeah, I did see that. I'm like, what? And
Rumble.
Yeah, puppies or too. So I think he got a few things going on.
Yeah, he's
there.
got a kennel. Yeah, he's involved in some businesses, and he's obviously not damaged. Like when you talk to him, he's totally
exactly.
Yeah, he's totally there. He's not suffered the damage that a lot of fighters have suffered. So if he did decide to get out now, he's at a good place in his life where he's accomplished a lot, and he's going to walk away unscathed.
Yeah, as long as he can make money doing other shit, I don't see.
He would just touch people.
Yeah,
just touch them. Boom, and you would see the lights go out.
Oh my God!
Like Glover to Sheriff. Nobody ever did that to Glover like that. One uppercut, blam,
and it's over.
It's over.
Go home.
Yeah, yeah. I want to see him punch that thing that Francis Ngannou punches. He might be right up there with Francis.
I would like to see that too.
Rumble's a terrifying human. Yeah. Terrifying. There's it's a very interesting sport to follow because there's so many exceptional human beings that are competing in this thing, that are involved in this high-level problem-solving event. It's just you see these human beings that are pushing themselves, their minds, their bodies to such extreme limits that it's very valuable for people. Much like I say your videos are very valuable, it's very valuable for people to be able to watch someone competing at such a high level.
Oh, my God. I mean, I'm a pay-per-view nut, man. If I ain't there in person, I'm buying it, Jack. I won't miss it.
Yeah, me too.
Did he fucking say me too?
That's true. But I am a fan.
You're fucking at all of them, man.
I'm not at all of them.
That's true. That is true. I have seen a couple.
Less of them than ever before.
I have seen a couple.
I'm down to just North American pay-per-views now. That's all I do.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, it's too much traveling, man. Flying Australia and shit. It just breaks you down.
Yeah. I can imagine because like before, I had the heart attack. I was traveling. Every weekend I'm in a different city, man.
Yeah.
It will really run you the fuck down, man.
It will.
But I know my traveling schedule had to be nothing compared to yours. But
one year was rough. One year I think I did 24 events. That was the most I ever did, 22 or 24, and it was crazy. It was like every other weekend I was flying somewhere.
Wow.
That was before someone else started doing, like, picking up some of the work. Like the UFC then hired a second commentary team, and they started doing the Fox Sports events and different events.
Yeah, you got other shit going too, man.
And I have a family, I just don't have time for all that shit. But I still enjoy it. I still love it.
Of course.
It's still fun.
How many comedian gigs do you do?
Well, I work all the time. Like I'm working tonight. At the Comedy Store tonight. I'm working tomorrow. This weekend I'm working in Detroit the night before the UFC. I got a couple shows in Detroit. So I'm always doing stand-up.
Damn.
But stand-up is like, in a lot of ways, like an athletic event, and that you have to be in shape for it. You can't get out of shape. If you get out of shape, you'll be rusty up there.
How you deal with hecklers, Joe?
Just shut them down.
Just set them down. Huh?
Most of the time, most people don't heckle. It's the rare dummy that steps out and wants to bark at you.
Yeah, you will get a rare dummy, a rare dummy every now and then.
Rare dummies exist, man.
Yep, they do.
So listen, brother, I got to wrap this up, but I wish you the best, and I really appreciate you coming here, and I'm really excited that we got a chance to talk. And what I said, I really mean. I think you're very valuable. I think what you've done is, I know it just kind of came to you out of nowhere by accident, but I think you've helped a tremendous amount of people, and I know you've helped me.
Oh, man, Joe, I appreciate that so much, and I appreciate the opportunity to be on your show. I feel like I finally made it on the Joe Rogan experience.
Well, listen, man, keep us posted with your health, and we're going to send you all the best positive energy and wishes we can, and I really hope you get that transplant and everything works out well, and we'll have you in afterwards, and we'll talk about it, man.
God bless you, Joe.
CT Fletcher, ladies and gentlemen.